I'm Casey Claiborne, and thanks for watching this Crime Watch YouTube exclusive, where we're taking a look at some of the most talked about crime stories this week around Texas. We begin in Elgin, where authorities have identified the victims of a double homicide that led to an officer-involved shooting. We've also learned more about the retired DPS trooper who police say fatally shot his wife and another woman at their home before he was killed by a deputy. Fox 7 Austin's John Krinjak spoke with the ex-wife of Paul Morales, Shaquel Soto, who describes Morales as abusive and violent, once threatening her with an AR-15. She believes this tragedy could have been prevented.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. I feel absolutely terrible for them and their family.
Tuesday night, DPS identifying the two women they say were murdered by former state trooper Rito Paul Morales. His wife, Kristen Morales, and Randy Mitchell shot to death at the home the three shared on Bear Forest Cove in Elgin on Saturday.
So I definitely was shocked, but then at the same time, it doesn't surprise me because of his past actions with me. And I know with his first wife as well.
Shaquel Soto and Morales met when she was just 17, married a year later.
When we first were together, it was everything I wanted.
She says he groomed her as a victim in an abusive and sometimes violent relationship when they lived in Alton near Lubbock.
He really started to change. The cops would come out to our place constantly. However, they were his friends. They covered for him.
She says he had a bad temper and a collection of guns, a combination that almost turned deadly.
There was an incident that he got an AR-15 and pointed it at me. And I was standing by our fridge, and his utility weapon, which was a 9mm, was on our fridge. And I grabbed it and I pointed it back at him. And I firmly believe that if I wouldn't have pointed it back at him, that he would have probably killed me that day.
By 2010, Soto and Morales' divorce was finalized. She says she wanted a restraining order, but that would have meant he'd lose his DPS job.
The agreement was that he was to be transferred out of the area I lived in Texas, and he went down south. And so basically he got a promotion for being a domestic violence perpetrator.
Soto says Morales was already dating Kristen, who he would later marry, when he was transferred to work at the Capitol in Austin. Randy Mitchell later moving in with the Moraleses at their home in Elgin.
He opened up the marriage, brought her in, and then they were leaving him, They decided they wanted to break off from him. And
so you feel that likely fueled what happened?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Because I know that when we were together, if he even thought that I looked at somebody else, it was a problem.
Do you think this could have been prevented?
Yes. Yes. When I complained years ago, nobody listened. But then maybe he would have went to jail and not had access to firearms.
Soto thanks God she was able to walk away.
Now I look at it and I'm like, God literally saved my life, and I just didn't know it. I didn't understand that all that pain that I was going through was helping me not become a victim.
You can watch John's full interview with Soto on the Fox 7 YouTube channel. There's a link below this video. In it, she shares the conversation one of her friends had with Morales the morning of the killing, and the advice she has for other women who are in abusive relationships. Well, it's been more than a year and a half since Texas State student Jason Landry vanished, but his loved ones aren't giving up hope. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis reports on their search.
The unknown it's really hard on the family because we don't know what happened, and having to go to bed every night just wondering where he is or what happened to him, how he might have suffered or where he is and if he's okay.
Investigators say Jason Landry disappeared on December 13th, 2020, driving from San Marcos to his parents' Houston area home. On December 14th, a volunteer firefighter found Landry's car crashed and abandoned. But so far, no Landry.
I used to think that the worst thing a parent can experience is losing their child, but I've learned that it's not. It's not knowing.
Catherine Shellman says her daughter, who went to Texas State, was murdered in 2010.
I feel like I couldn't help Tiffany, and so when I heard about Jason being missing, I thought, here's another Texas State student, and he's so young, and he's missing. People don't just disappear. Where is he? What can I do to help?
Today, they hang a new sign from the fence of Wake the Dead Coffee House in San Marcos.
This street and this gas station, this area gets a lot of people coming and going, and we're hoping that they'll see the sign and it'll jog something in their memory. You know what? He is still missing, and I remember this small thing. Let's call the Attorney General's phone number and share whatever information we have.
Volunteers say they want to keep his name top of mind, so they've displayed banners, flyers, signs, and card magnets with Landry's name and missing person information.
We think if someone out there knows something, it just takes one person to come forward.
We're going to keep marching forward to try to find him, to tell people, to find answers. We really are hopeful.
A team of people from all over Texas continue to be hopeful. Some never even knew Landry.
I was very quickly drawn into wanting to do anything I could.
Landry's aunt is thankful.
It's unbelievable that people are still involved with my nephew, who they've never met before. To have their support and their continuing dedication and getting his name out there, I mean, it means the world to us.
Shellman says they'll have a search in Luling next weekend. Information is posted at fox7austin.com. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Police have identified the woman killed in a shooting at a Northeast Austin apartment in the early hours of September 15th as 32-year-old Maricela Gonzalez. Gonzalez was murdered inside the bedroom of a unit at the Rise at Cameron Apartments just before 2:30 in the morning. Police say she was shot following an altercation. Right now, no arrests have been made, but police say they've identified a person of interest. They're asking anyone with information, especially video tied to the incident, to contact them. A food truck operator in East Austin is frustrated after being burglarized 15 times. The owner of Boteco, a Brazilian food truck, says he's tried everything to prevent these crimes, including security cameras and not taking cash payments. But these break-ins keep happening. Fernando Mari says a couple of tablets and chargers were stolen recently. He's filed multiple 311 reports online, but hasn't heard back from Austin police. Mari believes it's time for the city and APD to step in.
I'm not necessarily blaming the officers. I'm sure if they could, they would come and help and would do the best they can. It's a major red flag that has to be taken care of. Otherwise, this issue is never going to stop, and it's going to get to a point where it's just not tangible to have a business anymore.
Mari plans to continue running the food truck, but he's also looking at some other options for his business. Catalytic converter thefts continue to be an issue in Central Texas. Cedar Park police recently busted a couple of guys suspected of stealing multiple catalytic converters. Fox 7 Austin's Carissa Limco spoke with a couple of victims from the Austin area. Take a look.
In Cedar Park overnight, watch as two people steal this couple's catalytic converter from their Toyota Tacoma, parked in their driveway. Total running time, about 15 seconds. The same night,
I was gone for 4 days and came back on Monday evening. It was gone.
Marcus Havens discovered his catalytic converter was stolen while his car was parked at the Austin airport over the weekend. Also, a Toyota Tacoma.
At first, I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had a major issue with my car, my motor. But then it kind of hit me with that sound.
His truck was able to be repaired by Tuesday, $710 later.
It's been such an ongoing thing. They had the thing in stock.
In 2021, APD sounded the alarm on catalytic converter thefts, reporting a 2,000% increase from 2019 to 2020. In May of this year, ABIA announced 4 reports of catalytic converter thefts within 24 hours at airport parking lots. And Tuesday, Cedar Park police announced they had arrested 2 men in the early morning hours, found in their possession 6 catalytic converters, plus the tools needed to steal them, though it's unclear if they were connected to this Cedar Park video. Inside Don's Automotive on South 1st, shop manager Jimmy Preston,
so this is the cat,
is used to fielding complaints.
Get the calls all the time. So the call will come in, it's like, oh my gosh, my car sounds like a go-kart or a NASCAR race car.
Often from Tacoma or Prius owners who quickly realize their catalytic converter has been stolen. targeted for the valuable metals inside that can be turned for a profit.
Probably come down with a saw, cut it right there, and then come over here and cut it right there.
A necessary component.
It's basically the Brita filter for the exhaust.
But costly to fix.
The bottom line is, stop stealing the catalytic converters. I mean, you're a jerk.
Oh, what can you do as a car owner? Well, you can etch the VIN number into the catalytic converter or install what's called a cat shield. Those could potentially deter a thief. Fox 7 Austin reached out to ABIA, and a spokesperson said they have cameras and security patrolling the garages. It's not clear how many thefts they've had there recently. A UT Austin student who's been missing for nearly 50 years would have turned 67 this month. Brian Vargo vanished in 1976, and his family is still searching for answers. Brian's mother will turn 100 this year, and Fox 7 Austin's Shannon Ryan finds as time has passed, it's only intensified their quest for closure.
Flipping through old photographs.
But these are like when he was born and when he was a baby and stuff.
Analyzing legal and personal documents.
If you read the whole letter, it's to a girl that I believe that he liked or had interest in.
Amanda Vargo Wattkamps is trying to piece together an entire life.
I really have to figure out who he was, what he did, who he hung around with, who they were.
He is, or was, Amanda's uncle, Brian Vargo.
Do you believe he could still be alive?
If so, there's a very small chance.
Brian, then a 20-year-old UT Austin student, disappeared in March 1976.
It was his second semester that he disappeared.
Amanda recently tried to check in on Brian's case, but when she contacted agencies in Austin and Houston, Brian's hometown, she discovered a missing persons report had never been filed.
No one was looking for him.
The Austin Police Department took the case on last January. Still, Amanda works to crack it on her own.
What walls have you hit?
All of them.
What she does know is that Brian's grades declined his last year of school. He stopped going to classes before he discreetly took a leave of absence. He crashed his car and was arrested for using marijuana, notes left in journals and letters.
An ex-drug addict has desired to relearn his habits.
Are confusing.
He makes it sound like he may be addicted to drugs. But when you talk to his friends, they're like, no way.
Around spring break, he told his family he was going to Colorado to work on a dude ranch. His car broke down somewhere along the way, so he left it with a mechanic, promising to return. He stopped home before his family dropped him at a bus station in Katy. That was the last time they saw him.
The mechanic calls my grandfather, says, hey, I have your son's car here. He hasn't come back for it. He was supposed to come back with the title and sell me the car. It's been broken into. I need to get rid of it.
Brian would or may have turned 67 this month.
I have 2 boys, so it's kind of a reminder that even if they're, you feel like you're close to them, there could always be another side.
Do you think there was another side to Brian?
I think that there was a lot of emotions and expression that he didn't put out there.
This winter, Brian's own mother, Amanda's grandmother, will turn 100.
For you, what would it mean to get an answer about this for her?
I debate about that sometimes because once you find out that something horrible happened to somebody, sometimes you wish that maybe you would have rather not known.
You may have noticed there aren't a lot of exact dates, even locations in that piece. That's because the family doesn't have them. Amanda says that's one of the many challenges associated with trying to file a missing persons report decades after the fact. Memories are foggy, and a lot of people tied to the case are dead. If you know anything, you're asked to contact the Austin Police Department's Cold Case Unit. They're especially interested in learning more about the vehicle he took to Colorado, a 1974 Toyota Celica. Its ID is RA211-44929. We're ending in Dallas, where a doctor accused of poisoning IV bags used on surgery patients recently faced a federal judge for the first time. Investigators say 11 patients had cardiac emergencies and one doctor at the surgical center died after using the tainted IV bags. Fox's Lori Brown from our sister station in Dallas has the details.
In federal court, Dr. Reynaldo Ortiz Jr. wore the same black shorts and black polo shirt he was wearing during his intake into the Dallas County Jail. In court, he asked the judge to appoint him a public defender and signed a sworn affidavit saying he could not afford his own attorney. Among his assets, records show Dr. Ortiz owns a 7,700 square foot home valued at $1.3 million in Murphy. Federal prosecutors say Dr. Ortiz injected heart-stopping medications into IV bags at the Baylor Scott & White Surgicare Center on Coit Road near 635 in North Dallas. According to the criminal complaint, unknowing doctors then used the bags, which caused cardiac emergencies in 11 patients. A 12th case involves Dr. Melanie Kaspar, a fellow doctor at the center who was recovering from dehydration after being sick. The complaint says she suffered a lethal dose of a nerve-blocking agent after using what was supposed to be an IV bag of saline. Her husband of 30 years, John Kaspar, attended today's hearing.
It's just been a difficult summer, and this new information just stirs up all the emotions all over again. So it's a lot to take in.
Kaspar wanted to see Dr. Ortiz for himself Friday.
It was kind of a visceral experience.
According to the complaint, the poisonings began 2 days after Dr. Ortiz was notified of a disciplinary inquiry at the Baylor Scott & White facility. He had already lost his privileges to practice at a separate facility in Garland.
Whether it's revenge or if he's trying to cover up his own inabilities, it's hard to even comprehend that.
For weeks, Kaspar had no idea what caused his wife's fatal response to the IV bag.
I grappled with the fact that she had had a heart attack because she was a very healthy woman, could sit on her bicycle trainer for hours.
Kaspar was with his wife when she had the reaction.
You know, the most agonizing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So, you know, I've got that, to struggle with, for a long time. It was just fear and panic and pain.
Dr. Tittle is representing Kaspar in a potential civil case.
It's the wife of one of my closest friends, and we all knew Mel, and Mel was an incredible person. So, yeah, it's super unique and it's personal.
At a court hearing this week, Dr. Ortiz was ordered to be kept in custody without bail and will stay behind bars until his trial. Thanks for watching this Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch. Our exclusive Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. Again, to learn more about the stories featured today, look for the links below this video. You can also find more stories on our website, fox7austin.com, or subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.